Donald Trump or Elon Musk decided that an agency and its operations was unnecessary, under your bill, they could just eliminate it. Is that correct?
Yes, it requires a vote of Congress.
Yeah, it requires Congress to vote on it.
Mr. Chairman, as I read it, your bill is giving the congressional authority to the executive to do it without Congress.
No, that's not true.
Can you
You're misinterpreting the bill.
Can you please point us to the language in the bill that retains Congress's authority?
It requires a privileged resolution in Congress.
Can you please point us to the page and the line number that requires congressional consent for reorganization of the federal government?
Sections 908 and 909.
In sections 908 and 909
Of Title 5,
of Title 5.
which this bill amends. Which this bill is
I'm sorry,
this bill
Mr.
is
Chairman.
amended.
Section 908 says striking December 31st, 1985. Can you please refer to the language that retains Congress's authority under the United States Constitution to rein in the executive to stop it from eliminating unnecessary duties, reducing federal employees, amending rules and regulations, and eliminating executive departments, agencies, independent establishments, offices, or officers of the executive branch?
If my colleague would yield.
Just let me answer that question. This bill amends Title 5, Section 908 and 909.
which retains congressional authority.
Again, Mr. Chairman, can you please point us to the place in your bill where it retains Congress's constitutional authority to rein in the executive branch?
Just reading how Congress. She's intentionally mistaken.
You're intentionally misrepresenting the bill.
Mr. Chairman, I'm reading the bill, and
No.
I'm asking you as the
Read the bill.
sponsor to point to us where your bill, which you are trying to pass through this committee today, retains the authority of Congress.
It changes the date to 2026. It amends the date.
Mr. Chairman, I'm just going to read from your bill. I've got 40 seconds here. It allows
The bill amends
executive
current
branch-
law. What you're looking
Chairman,
at,
this
what
is
you're
my
looking
time.
for already exists as law.
Mr. Chairman, your bill, as introduced here, allows the executive to eliminate any executive department, agency, independent establishment, or corporation within the United States, an office or an officer, to essentially repeal, amend any regulation, and to eliminate anything that the executive branch determines to be unnecessary. And I strongly oppose this bill because this is a blank check to Donald Trump and Elon Musk to continue to dismantle the federal government.
This wasn't James Comer's first run-in with New Mexico Representative Melanie Stansbury.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member, to my colleagues, to those of you who are new to the Oversight Committee. Welcome to the 119th Congress. The fun has already begun. Today's meeting is ostensibly to discuss and to approve the rules for the Oversight Committee. A simple procedural meeting. The rules are printed. We discuss them. There's some new subcommittees being created. And so the purpose of the amendment, which I am offering here today, is very clear and very straightforward. It is for the purpose of preventing this committee, its subcommittee, its staff, its resources, and its members from being used by those with a financial interest or conflict of interest in front of the federal government for being used for their own means. And in particular, I think many Americans are extremely concerned that the new DOGE effort is being led by somebody with billions of dollars of financial interests in front of the federal government.
I'm glad the Democrats are, or at least the gentlelady from New Mexico, we'll see how this vote turns out, but she's continuing the Biden regime of censoring speech by limiting who can interact with the committee. I stand ready to work with anyone who wants to make government better. I don't care if they're a Republican, Democrat, rich, poor, urban, rural. We've got, as my friend and colleague Mr. Gosar mentioned, we have a crisis of debt in our country. And I don't know of another committee in the House of Representatives that is as serious and focused on reducing wasteful spending as this committee. That's what this committee was created to do. I hope that we can do that, and I hope that we can do that in a bipartisan manner. But I oppose the lady's amendment. It's unnecessary. It undermines Americans' constitutional rights to petition the government. So I urge my colleagues to vote against the Stansbury amendment. Any other members seek recognition?
Mr. Chairman, do you yield?
Chair recognizes Mr. Gosar.
You know, I find this very interesting. You know, we've got a conflict of interest everywhere. You know, you look at the wealth of some individuals, and I'm not picking out one side or another. You know, whether it be people working for us, people on this committee, all the way across the board have a financial interest. So are we even capable of doing this? Now, let me also tell you a little bit about Mr. Musk. What would have happened to those folks in North Carolina and Georgia and Florida that were taken back by the hurricanes? He volunteered to Starlink. So we also have to have an ability to have innovators, because the last thing I've seen in this body of work is that we're poor innovators. We don't think outside the box. We go over and over the same things over and over again, expecting a different result. That's insanity, folks. I hope that he picks on, and I'm not on the committee, but I hope that he picks on his own platform that we saw. They admitted to being censored by this previous administration, the Biden administration, forced to do that. So let's not talk about, you know, high and mighty about being one side or another. How about what we do is allow this man to do this and then take a look.
This is a common sense good government amendment. The entire purpose of this amendment is to bring standard ethics language into the committee process to make sure that anybody who is interacting with this committee does not use it or its resources for personal profit. It's basic ethics language. It does not infringe on speech. It does not prevent someone from appearing or advising the committee on general issues or classes of issues which are permissible under the rules and the ethics of the House of Representatives. But it would prevent someone from using the committee and federal resources for personal financial gain. And I want to read the text in the amendment that is really clear about this. It says that folks shall not advise the committee or its members in a paid or unpaid capacity or otherwise interact with the committee or subcommittee on any matter that would benefit the person financially or constitute a conflict of interest. This is not a violation of the Constitution or of free speech. Using federal resources to benefit your own financial interests is not protected speech. Unless, I was trying to figure out while we were on break what my colleagues are referring to. Maybe they're referring to the Citizens United case. Maybe they're referring to protecting the speech of campaign donations. Maybe they're referring to protecting the $250 million in donations that Elon Musk made to Donald Trump in his campaign, and that has given him access not only to the inner circle of Donald Trump's administration, but it's going to land him in office in the White House and pretty much unfettered access to this committee and its resources. So this amendment is designed to make sure he can come here, he can come testify, he can talk about issues that are general issues, but he cannot use this committee as a personal piggy bank to put forward an agenda that would personally profit him or others against the public interest. That is what this amendment is about. That is what we're trying to do, is to make sure that people do not use this committee for personal and private gains. Now, I'm dismayed that in the first organizing committee of this Congress, we can't even agree on the most basic ethical standards for how this committee is going to conduct itself. Language that appears in almost every single government agency, federal, state, local, tribal, also in the private sector. This is about protecting the public interest. This is about making sure that the goals that are supposedly laid out in this rule change that creates these two new subcommittees is really about achieving government efficiency and improvements. And it's about making sure that billionaires who buy their way into the inner circle of Donald Trump do not use this committee and its resources for their own financial gain. And with that, I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back to recognize Ms. Green from Georgia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's a lot of outrage today about my new subcommittee on DOGE. I want to say I'm honored. Thank you. You see, all the talk about billionaires. Let's talk about George Soros, who has donated hundreds of billions of dollars to Democrats, Democrat PACs, Democrat interests that ripped open our border, invaded our country, have had all types of policies that have directly impacted Americans in the worst ways possible. You know, Elon Musk used to be a Democrat. And I think the problem here is you guys are really jealous. And let's be brutally honest. It's your policies that have run off Democrats. You have run off your own donors. And you ran off the voters in this last election because of the absolute failures that you did to this country. So let's be really clear in what you're trying to do. You're attacking Elon Musk because you're really jealous.
Whether James Comer even read the Big Beautiful Bill or not is largely irrelevant at this point. As humiliating as it is to be the chairman of the Oversight Committee acting like a kid being asked to give a book report on something they never even opened, lawmakers aren't technically required to read the bills that they vote on. They never have. But it does go to show how little these people care about the impact their actions and their blind loyalty to Trump will have on America.